गिरिधारी शिशि राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जाय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शतर शतस्मार भक्तिवेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शतर शतस्मार भक्तिवेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शतर शतस्मार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्री प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शतर शतस्मार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद शतर शतस्मार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जाय। नित्याल्प विष्णु महाभागवत श्री गोस्वामी बाबा जी महाराज की जाय। नित्याल्प विश्व श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जाय। नित्याल्प विश्व वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबा जी महाराज की जाय। श्री रूपानु गौड़िया गुरु वर्ग की जाय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास गुरुनाथ शारद गोसाई प्रभु की जाय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जाय। नाम चय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जाय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जाय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात्र गिरिराज महाराज की जाय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जाय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जाय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जाय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जाय। श्री पूर्णमासी योग माया की जाय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जाय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जाय। जय श्री भक्ति सारंग गोसाई महाराज की जाय। जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जाय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जाय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। We'll do a short Mangalacharan and then begin. Let me just check the calendar really quickly. I haven't looked at it for a while. Is today maybe special? No, it doesn't look like that. Okay. Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindayai Tulsi Devai Priyayai Keshavasacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat pranams, Nri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Gopal Ghanasham Prabhu, Champak Mataji, Anadi Krishna Prabhu, and on YouTube and Facebook I see Ganga Mataji and Rohini Nandan Prabhu, and I'm guessing Rupa Raghunath Prabhu was there as well. And all the devotees watching in the future, like Shachi Devi and Jayadev Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. All right, so today we are going to read, as you know, now we're just reading any Raise of the Harmonist articles, whatever articles I open up that's what I've been doing. I've just been opening up a Raise of the Harmonist issue and then say, okay, let's read that one. Like I haven't really been thinking about it so much. But I thought today we could read two articles, one by Srila Bhakti Sāraṅga Gosvāmī Mahārāja called Vidya and Vedana, or knowledge and feeling. And then the other article is an article by our Srila Bhaktivedānta Swāmī Prabhupāda. I think it's called Śrī Kṛṣṇa-līlā and Mundane Sense Gratification. So those are the two articles for today. And as you know, right now I'm just reading through them and not really going deep into them or anything like that. Just pretty much reading, and that's it, because that's all my mind can handle at the moment. Okay. Knowledge and feeling, Vidya and Vedana. The heart has reasons which reason cannot know. Knowledge is acquired through mental vigor, but feelings are realized within the heart. The brain is the domain of knowledge, or erudition. But bhakti, being totally unconcerned with knowledge, seeks to blossom in the heart. It is said, the heart has reasons which reason cannot know. Knowledge, or vidya, is superior to ignorance, or avidya. Yet, if neither can rid us of mundane conceptions and rouse fully transcendental bhakti within our hearts, then both prove to be the cause of extreme misfortune. If knowledge fails to subdue ignorance and make the heart beat only to serve Adhokshaj Vishnu, the all-pervasive Lord who is beyond sense perception, then it will simply befriend ignorance, and together they will just become engaged in enjoying worldly pleasures. Sometimes the forces of knowledge and ignorance battle each other, and together fall to the jaws of death. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Jada Vidya Jata Mayara Vaigana. Conceited intellectuals. Those endowed with keen intellect can become scholarly and knowledgeable. They can become acquainted with the winding currents that flows endlessly through the ages, carrying the various conceptions of the external worlds. These philosophers, using their intellect and genius, can astound the world by inventing ever-new channels of thought. Through their erudition in treatises like the Rig Veda, Samaveda, Yajurveda, and Atharva Veda, and through their mastery of a range of fields of knowledge, such as education, shiksha, prescribed rituals, kalpa, grammar, vyakaran, etymology, nirukta, poetry, chanda, astrology, jyotish, medicine, ayurveda, natural science, vigyan, archaeology, pratna-tattva, sculpting, shilpa, fine arts, kala, music, sangeet, politics, rajniti, economics, arthaniti, and sociology, samajaniti. So, but through mastery of all these fields of knowledge, such thinkers have earned revere worldwide. In each and every one of these fields of knowledge, the eager apprentice idolizes some expert from his chosen fields and becomes his student. Although upon observing the majesty of contemporary intellectuals, the eager apprentice may be instantaneously impressed and astonished. He nevertheless devotes his time to studying under the tutelage of the distinguished champion of his particular interests. And the principal motive that drives all his ostentatious admiration of this hero is the prospect of fulfilling his own personal ambitions, namely erudition and respectability, Like this, desperately struggling to remain afloat in the diverse seas of knowledge, so many intellectuals fail to cross the vast ocean of mundane existence, all because of conceit, arrogance, and intolerance. These shackle their selfish, blinded eyes solely to this mundane realm. Like this, desperately struggling, so many intellectuals fail to cross the vast ocean of mundane existence, all because conceit, arrogance, and intolerance shackle their selfish, blinded eyes solely to this mundane realm. Sorry, I didn't read that properly first time. Okay. So now in the Ishopanishad, number 9, it says, Andam tama pravishyanti ye vidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo ya u vidyayam rata. Those who embrace nescience enter into the darkest ignorance, but those who absorb themselves in so-called erudition fall into an even bleaker darkness. The soul cannot rely on knowledge to gain true freedom. Illusion, or Maya, has two modes: knowledge, vidya, and ignorance, avidya. The influence of knowledge erodes mundanity, while ignorance nourishes and furthers it. Those who become overwhelmed by worldliness remain in a state of ignorance, and the divine nature, the chit prakriti of their souls, becomes enveloped by the murk of mundanity. On the other hand, those who are detached from worldliness can demolish their mundane existence and all its confines. But without bhakti, even these detached persons cannot easily earn the shelter of the Lord's Swarup Shakti, his most intimate internal potency. Consequently, such persons inevitably destroy their own souls and plummet into the most ghastly darkness. No soul in this world, a world that is plagued by illusion, can ever truly free himself from mundane existence by relying on the influence of knowledge, if he fails to establish his relationship with the Supreme Self, the Paramatma. Therefore, the Vedas state, O living entity, the truth of the soul, the truth that you are seeking, is neither knowledge nor ignorance. Rather, it is something that stands apart from both. It is part of the soul's very constitution that he may fall under the sway of Maya, illusion. But since he is but an infinitesimal spark of consciousness, why is that? Because he is but an infinitesimal spark of consciousness, Anuchitanya. Therefore, he can come under the sway of Maya. Manipulated by such illusion, the soul is gripped. The soul is gripped by sorrow. To find relief from his sorrow and sufferings, the soul seeks refuge in knowledge, and the monistic thoughts he subsequently entertains become the cause of the worst of his miseries. Yenyera vindaksha vimuktamaninas tvayasta bhavara vishuddha buddhaya aruhya krichrena parang padang pita patantyado nad virta yushmar angraya. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 10:2-32. O lotus-eyed Lord, some people proudly consider themselves liberated, despite having no realization of you, the absolute truth. Their speculations spoil their intelligence, and no matter how much they fancy they have elevated their state of consciousness through their severe penance and austerity, they inevitably fall from their imaginary platform because they disregard worship of your lotus feet. The awakening of feeling. To rescue us from this painful predicament, the Vedas say, Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha ma grida kasyavid dhanam. Kasyasvid vanam. That's the first verse of Ishopanishad. The Supreme Lord is the controller and proprietor of all that is, of every animate and inanimate entity throughout creation. One should accept for himself what the Lord has given him as his share, and never try to take another's portion. In his commentary on this verse, Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur writes, by his own potency, by his Atma Shakti, the Supreme Lord created this universe, and by the strength of that same potency, he then entered within each and every atom, thus pervading everything. Likewise, you too, O soul, are a unique existential principle. You are a Vishesh Tattva, and have emanated from one of his energies. He is Paramatma, the Supreme Soul, and you are Atma, a minute soul. From the perspective of your constitutional function, your Atma Dharma, none is as intimately kindred to you as he. But at present, on account of misconceptions about your identity, you have labeled all but yourself as other, and allowed yourself to exploit all other entities for your own selfish indulgences. Yet, if you could perceive the Supersoul's existence within all things and thereby free yourself from selfishness, you would no longer be compelled to misappropriate all perceptible objects for your own indulgence, considering them to be something other. Offer all things in the service of the Lord. Whatever you may acquire, accept it as his grace. If you conducted thus, all your deeds will be shaped by the constitutional nature of your pure soul. Haribol Vidalala Sadibu. Because Bhagavan Adhokshaj, the transcendent proprietor of all potencies, possesses natural authority over everything, he can reveal himself without discrimination, even to such an unworthy, miserable being as me. And he is never apathetic about bestowing his mercy. The jiva fails to conceive of such causeless infinite grace as found in so kind a Lord. But when he realizes that the grandeur of erudition is but trivial, he experiences the wavering of feelings within his heart. The acute feeling within our heart, full of yearning to serve that most auspicious Lord, he who is the actual goal of all service, is what gradually leads us to the foreground of prem, pure love. These very feelings, which become fortified by saintly company, are capable of giving us a hint of the Shuddha Sattva, because they rid our consciousness. They rid our consciousness of distress, arising from the three mundane modes, namely ignorance, passion, and worldly goodness. He watches over me. He listens when I speak. He worries for me. And when I forget him, he cannot forget me. He is the very origin of all sublime qualities. His sacred body is not mundane. Rather, he possesses a form wherein there lies no difference between soul and body, a divine form comprised entirely of cognizance, eternity, and joy. He is my master, and I am his infinitesimal, yet similarly transcendental servant and eternal associate. Discarding his company in service to him, at times I beckon ignorance in the form of karma kanda, the prescribed methods for attaining mundane prosperity. At other times, acquiring excessive knowledge leads me to seek impersonal Brahma, which in turn leads me into the grimmest, most ghastly darkness. This kind of knowledge stems from the illusory potency. The constitutive nature of the finitude and transience of sensuous objects is such that when too much addicted to, they naturally create an aversion on the part of the ego. And the averseness, which is described in the Vedanta system as Iha amutra falabhoga viraga, that means disinterest in or detachment from enjoying the results of action, either in this life or the next. So the averseness, which is described in the Vedanta system, it forms the doorway to right knowledge. Sorry, I went a little bit. My brain, I didn't catch what we just read. Totally. Sorry, just please be patient with me. Sorry. The constitutive nature of the finitude and transience of sensuous objects is such that when too much addicted to, they naturally create an aversion on the part of the ego. And the averseness, which is described in the Vedanta system as iha amutra, disinterest in or detachment from enjoying the results of action either in this life or the next, forms the doorway to right knowledge. Okay, sorry. And because such averseness follows from the very nature of the products of Maya, it is but fitting that Vidya, as a doorway to right knowledge, is an effect of the Maya Shakti. And then there's a footnote here. It says this entire paragraph appeared in English in the original article. The sublime transcendent ideal of both knowledge and ignorance resides within the Lord's spiritual potency, within the Chit Shakti. If a person endeavors, is the internet so Well, sorry. The power out, but then the Wi-Fi also went out. Okay. So the sublime transcendent idea of both knowledge and ignorance resides within the Lord's spiritual potency, Chit Shakti. If a person endeavors to demolish the perverse forms of knowledge and ignorance, which are offered by the illusory potency, by setting up that ideal as his objective, he comes to see through a special characteristic function of the Chit Shakti. By adhering to that special vision, he shall never again fall prey to destruction at the hands of mundane knowledge, which has impersonalism as its signature trait. Knowledge stemming, let me see if the internet's working well enough. Oh my God, I'm not even getting 1 megabyte upload. Knowledge stemming from the illusory potency will lead the soul from mundanity only to the point of impersonal immortality. When the ignorance that stems from the illusory potency points at its own sublime counterpart, it itself transforms it into that ideal tattva, that aspect of reality. It is only then that the soul's aprakrit swarup, transcendental intrinsic form, Sri Parameshwar's aprakrit swarup, and the divine mutual relationship between them will shine forth in all brilliance and produce the supreme ras, the supramundane liquid emotions, which stems from the spiritual potency. Finding nectar. Vedyam chavedyam chayastar vedobhyam saha avedaya mritam tirtva vedaya mrita ashmute. Śrī Kṛṣṇa-līlā, verse 11. He who simultaneously comprehends both knowledge and ignorance will transcend dying in sight. He who simultaneously comprehends both knowledge and ignorance will transcend dying in ignorance and will enjoy the immortal nectar of knowledge. It is then only at that auspicious moment that one finds a trace of the nectar of divinity. Only then does a spiritualized heart experience intense feelings for Sri Hari's transcendental lotus feet. Sriman Mahaprabhu has also said, Prabhu kohe vidya madhya kon vidya sar, Rai kohe Krishna bhakti vina vidya nahi ar. That's Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 8-245. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired, what is the most essential knowledge amidst all forms of knowledge? To which Rai Ramananda replied, other than Krishna Bhakti, there is no knowledge. And Thakur Bhaktivinoda sung, Jara Vidya Jata Mayara Vaibhav Tomar Bhajane Badha Mohajana Miya Anitya Samsare Jiva Ke Koro Ye Kada. That's Sharanagati, third song in Sharanagati. All mundane knowledge is but an extension of illusion. It is a hindrance to your bhajan and simply spawns delusional infatuation for this transient world, making the soul act like a donkey. Learned rogues. These load-carrying donkeys may earn tremendous praise from common people who fancy them to be learned thinkers. But if their hearts do not quiver with feeling for Sri Hari, they cannot bring welfare to the world. Rather, they only increase its unrest. If the scholar's knowledge turns their heads to stone, then such scholars are better described as fiends or swindlers than as scholars. The world's marketplace has no scarcity of such rogues. Because of their immense numbers, they are seen everywhere, especially in the vicinity of Malabar, a hub of impersonalism in Kerala, South India, and also Varanasi. The fields, bathing ghats, and courtrooms are all teeming with them. These selfish people become obsessed with the urge for sensual pleasure and thereby erect barriers across the path to their own true well-being. And due to envy of Sri Hari, who is all auspicious, they fall into a state of deplorable degradation. Mahimano bhaktestu bhakta eva vijanante mahatim sutipidantu bandhananu bhavik kachit. As a barren woman can never know the intense pains of childbirth, the non-devotees can never fathom the glory of bhakti. Only the devotees are acquainted with it. It's an interesting comparison. So may the Supreme Lord, Vasudeva, who hails from the sublimely pure mode of existential cognizance, Vishuddha Sattva Gunanvita Chit Prasuta, may that Supreme Lord Vasudeva save us from being swallowed alive by the throes of illusion. Just seeing how much is left. Oh, wow, this is quite a long article. Okay. I think we'll just read this article, read Srila Prabhupada's article tomorrow then. Okay. So if acquired knowledge, intelligence, wealth, admirers, and one's life and youth are engaged, not for the highest purpose, for the para-artha, but rather to feed one's own petty, lowly, and self-indulgent purposes, then the cycle of mutual exploitation will swell until the havoc it wreaks destroys oneself along with the entire world. For this reason, such selfish people are never favored by Sri Vishnu, the guardian and sustainer of the world. On the other hand, when a person's acquired knowledge is engaged for the highest purpose, for the Parārtha, he advances on the path of auspiciousness and earns the favor and grace of Sri Vishnu. Such saintly souls who are able to grasp life's essence, those who are Sāraṅga, they travel the path of auspiciousness, being religious and endowed with spiritual merit. Saintly men and demoniac men have opposite destinies, and they have waged war against each other since time without beginning. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That's Bhagavad Gita 4:8. To protect my unalloyed bhaktas, to annihilate the wicked, and to re-establish dharma, I appear millennium after millennium. When the demonic dynasties swell in numbers, Bhagavan Sri Vishnu personally incarnates. With his Sudarshan Chakra, he cuts to shreds, in the Sudarshan Chakra, which is his divine disc weapon, which bestows divine vision. So with that Sudarshan Chakra, he cuts to shreds the poisonous influence of demoniac people, whose perception is corrupt. And he rescues saintly people whose perception is pure. In the battle of Kurukshetra, Krishna's dear friend Bhima crushed and hacked off the heads of countless demoniac men with his deadly mace. There he established the futility of their corrupted genius. The moral he imparted was that one should disregard vanity and cultivate being even more humble than the lowly straw and more tolerant than the enduring tree. Knowledge and feeling. If the brain's capacities are made to assist the heart, providing opportunities to further the heart's true inclination, then by the effect of keeping saintly company, we can shed our arrogance and set foot on the path that leads to life's supreme goal. We can then become more humble than a blade of grass. In Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.2, we find the statement, Vedam vastavamatra vastu shivadam. Only a truly existing entity, which is related to the absolute and thus supremely auspicious, is worthy of being known. If we seek out communion with the all-auspicious absolute truth, our hearts will melt, and we will be elevated to the forefront of sublimely pure existence, Vishuddha Sattva. Our serene hearts, thus established in pure cognizance, can then become the playground for the Śrī Adhokshaja's loving pastimes. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na Shotati Na Kankshati Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu Mar Bhaktim Labate Param. That's Bhagavad Gita 18:54. A person thus situated in Brahma becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires anything. Being equally disposed to all beings, he attains bhakti to me, which is blessed with the symptoms of prema. In our serene hearts, feelings for Śrī Adhokshaj will make their appearance. Thereafter, we will be delivered from this mundane world, and by the mercy of Śrī Guru, we will discover the spiritual pastimes of the Lord and become expert relishers of one of the transcendental humors, namely servanthood, friendship, parenthood, or amorous love. Only in a heart radiant with pure goodness can rasa make its appearance. Vyatitya bhavana vartmayash chamatkar bharabhu hridi satvojvale badham swadate saraso mata. That's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Southern Division 5.134. In the stage of bhav, each of the ingredients of ecstatic emotion, like vibhav and vyabhichari bhav, are relished independently of one another. After transcending the stage, all the ingredients of ecstatic emotion combine. The ecstasy that arises from that combination causes a state of intense astonishment to arise in the heart. which has become resplendent with Shuddha Sattva, pure existential goodness. That most relishable ambrosia of transcendent liquid emotions is technically called ras. If someone completes his study of the Vedas, the various limbs of the Vedas, and the supplemental Vedic literatures, but divine ras does not awaken within his heart, then fie on his erudition. Shrutam apyo panishadam dure hari katamritat yan shanti dravachitsai yan shanti dravaschitta kampashu pulukadaya. Even though one may listen to the recitation of the Upanishads, if one's heart does not melt and the symptoms of trembling, tears, horripilation, and so forth do not subsequently appear, then that person is very, very far away from relishing the nectar of Harikatha. Bhagavan alone is the one true reality we must come to know. Knowledge that does not bring feelings for him into our hearts is self-destructive. May Shuddha Saraswati, Bhakti Devi herself, the goddess of pure transcendental knowledge, shelter us from the clutches of such harmful knowledge. May we become students in the school of absolute transcendental knowledge, and thus avoid the bewilderment of dry knowledge. Empty trance. The Shankara of Malabar, with his overinflated erudition, exercised his intellect in the process of negation, relying solely on knowledge derived through direct sense perception, aporoksha gyan. That's pratyaksha gyan, right? Aporoksha gyan means knowledge that's beyond our, like that's like godly knowledge, like heavenly knowledge and knowledge of, right? Anyways, he regarded the Lord as an entity within the grasp of intellect and became situated in trance on that conception. Yet, in that trance, no emotion nor any love for Sri Adhokshaj arose in his heart. He was therefore unable to transcend the stage of presuming the absolute reality to be within the comprehension of material senses. And Bodhisattva, Sakya Singha Buddha, the enlightened one, he regarded the voidist trance. He regarded the voidist trance that he had once buried himself in as, oh God, sorry, I'm having a hard time reading all of a sudden. And Bodhisattva regarded the voidist trance that he had once buried himself in. He regarded that as he had sat beneath the Bodhi tree, as the highest. He regarded that as the highest precept there is. We do not wish to become as unenlightened as the enlightened one, or as overinflated with erudition as Shankara of Malabar. Sri Bodhayan Muni, on the other hand, represents our ideal. So who is Sri Bodhayan Muni? Is a footnote. It says, Sri Bodhayan Muni was a major proponent of the Vaishnava theistic interpretation of the Vedanta Sutra and the author of the Brahma Sutra Vritti, which predates Shankaracharya's Shariraka Bhashya. Oh, I just lost my spot. Oh, sorry. So by following his example, Sri Bodhayan Muni's example, we will be saved from the clutches of the two kinds of trance just mentioned. In the land of Sri Purushottam, we will sit by the shore of the ocean in Bodhayan Kutir, which lies not far from the sacred samadhi of Srila Haridas Thakur. There, by serving Sri Gaur Gadadhar, who is situated atop Chatak Parvat, we can discover the Unata Ujjala Ras of Śrī Gopinath. The pains of transcendent love. Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha prabhashaitam punyaitam jagat sarvam govinda viraham. That's seventh verse of Shikshashtaka. O Saki, in separation from Govinda, even a moment seems like a millennium. Tears begin to shower from my eyes like rain from the clouds, and this entire world seems void. Them that do we repeat 1,000 times here to see that our feelings that I want the feelings that arise in the hearts of mundane lovers by the influence of Madan, the mundane god of love, in times of separation and in times of union, cannot be equated with the feelings of separation and meeting experienced in relation to Sri Madan Mohan, that transcendental god of Cupids, of love, who even enchants the heart of Madan. And on the other side, we must distance ourselves from Brahmasukh, the happiness of monastic emancipation. Only when we follow the guidance of Sri Gaura's devotees and thus learn to experience the feelings or the pains of separation from Sri Govinda within our heart, only then will we achieve supreme joy. In the home of Srivas Thakur, known as Srivasangan, there was a maid who served the devotees of Sri Gaur when they came there. Her name was Dukhi Devi, the sad one. But Sriman Mahaprabhu changed her name to Sukhi, which means the happy one. There's a footnote here. Anyways, it just gives the reference in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Bearing the pains of separation from Sri Govinda that arise within our hearts, and calling out as we weep loudly and piteously, Hey Krishna, we will cross the ocean of mundane existence. O seekers of the impersonal absolute, the painless joy of emancipation you are presently fantasizing about in your distressed state will soon become very painful for you. The forceful wind will make the serene ocean of your heart surge and overflow. Why? Know that Sri Madhva Muni, Sri Madhvacharya, the incarnation of the wind god, Vayu Devata, is known as the guru of the whole world because he makes the most serene hearts into places of agonizing feelings of love for Sri Krishna. Ananda Tirtha Nama Sukhamaya Dhama Yatir Jiyat Sangsaranar Nava Taranim Yamiha Jana Tirtayanti Buddha. Sorry. So that's from the Prameya Ratnavali. Means, all glories to the crest jewel of sannyasis, Sri Ananda Tirtha Madhva Muni, who is the abode of divine joy. The most learned personalities have praised him as the sturdiest of boats who can carry the conditioned souls across the ocean of material existence. Sublime joy. It is the work of illusion that one should fantasize about feeling joy by becoming bereft of all feeling. There are those who cannot comprehend the conception of loving separation, of vipralamba from the Lord. They assert that the doctrine that perpetual union with him, that sambhog, is superior. Thus, they make themselves incapable of performing anukula Krishnanushilanam, constant fervent endeavors born of genuine kindness.
towards him, which ultimately results in his greatest well-being. We note that even in this world, the total absence of the cold would render heat torturous. Similarly, without the presence of heat, there'd be no pleasure in feeling cold. In the absence of one, the presence of the other shall never be appealing. Mundane natural scientists say, both coolness and warmth are delightful when they coexist, and neither of them is so when it exists apart by itself. Consequently, both of them are painful in the absence of the other. Moreover, when hunger and food exist together, they are both delightful. But in the absence of food, hunger is painful and vice versa. However, in the land of divine love, prem, both union and separation yield sublime joy. In monastic emancipation and sayujya mukti, joy turns into distress due to the absence of feeling. Some, therefore, say that the aim of impersonal emancipation, which is to mitigate both joy and distress, is only possible by cultivating divine love. Since in the realm of divine love, both the object of love, the Lord, and the resting place of love, his devotees, would realize profound happiness even in laying down their own lives for each other. Such love leaves no scope for any mundane joy and distress. Mundane sentiments which stem from adulterated consciousness can never be equated with the feelings that arise from pure consciousness. The life and soul of the goddess of knowledge. Bharata bhumite hoila manusya janmajar janmasartha kori koro para upakar. That's Śrī Kṛṣṇa-līlā Adi Lila 941. If someone has taken human birth in the sacred land of India, he must make his life successful by striving to actualize the greatest welfare for all. Achieving the greatest welfare, para upakar, obviously does not mean destroying one's own soul along with everyone else's by pursuing temporarily pleasing goals of no true significance just because of the goad of one's impetuous brain. Rather, the greatest welfare for others, doing the highest welfare activities for others, means to cleanse the mirror of one's own heart and at the same time cleanse the mirror of all others' hearts through the medium of Śrī Kṛṣṇa Sankirtan. It is only possible for Śrī Kṛṣṇa to appear in a heart. So it is only possible for Śrī Kṛṣṇa to appear in a heart that is vishuddha, that is supremely pure. As a secondary result of Śrī Kṛṣṇa Sankirtan, the blazing fire of mundane existence is extinguished, and one attains one's ultimate goal. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Kirtan is the life and soul, it is the jivan of the goddess of knowledge, who is like his bride, Vidyavadu. A bride without life would have no feeling in her heart, no movements in her limbs, no cheer on her face, no enticing glance in her eyes, and no consciousness in her being. The expressionless, unblinking stare of a lifeless woman can actually spark her lover's feelings of detachment, for it is sure that she can never join him in amorous pastimes. Knowing that a lifeless material body will soon rot away, we find it urgent to give up our association with it, for it is no more than a corpse. So we will relinquish our pursuits of the endeavors of the bride of mundane. We will relinquish our pursuits of the cadaverous bride of mundane knowledge, for she is completely emptied of life-giving kirtan. What does cadaverous mean? Second. Cadaverous means very thin, bony, skeletal, emaciated. So resembling a corpse in being very pale, thin, or bony. So we will relinquish our pursuit of the cadaverous bride of monistic knowledge, for she is completely emptied of life-giving kirtan. She is voiceless, motionless, and totally unconscious. Instead, by the influence of Śrī Kṛṣṇa Kirtan, we will cross the ocean of material existence. We will perform that Krishna Kirtan under the exclusive guidance of his bride, the goddess of supreme transcendental knowledge, Para Vidya Vadhu, for Śrī Kṛṣṇa Kirtan is her very life. Śrī Kṛṣṇa Kirtan causes the ocean of divine joy to surge and swell moment by moment. The petty happiness found in impersonal emancipation is like a glowworm in front of the sun. It is useless to compare it to the nectarian ocean of divine love for Śrī Kṛṣṇa. As a result of performing Śrī Kṛṣṇa Kirtan, one relishes complete nectar at each and every step, and one's proclivity to serve Śrī Kṛṣṇa swells more and more until it entirely engulfs and bathes the soul. May Śrī Gurudev, he who performs Śrī Kṛṣṇa Kirtan, be glorified everywhere. May Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the embodiment of Śrī Kṛṣṇa Kirtan, be victorious everywhere. Shruyatam Shruyatam Nityam Giyatam Giyatam Muda Chintayang Bhaktash Chaitanya Charitamritam. That's Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Lila 12:1. Oh devotees, just listen to it. Listen to it for all time. Sing it and chant it to your heart's delight. Forever meditate and contemplate Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the nectarian anthology of the life and teachings of Sri Chaitanya, the embodiment of the awakening of ecstatic consciousness through Śrī Kṛṣṇa Kirtan. Om Hari Om. This is translated from the Weekly Gaudiya, year 15, issue 1, August 1936. Okay, so tomorrow we will continue reading. We'll read this article of Srila Prabhupada, Śrī Kṛṣṇa-līlā, and Mundane Sense Gratification. That's a picture of Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles, the New Dwarka Temple. My mother, she painted that border on the side of that painting of Krishna. My mother painted that. Sorry. Okay, so I'll do a short Mahamantra and then we'll end for today. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki Jai, Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Jai Shri Gurudev ki Jai, Shri Param Gurudev ki Jai, Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai, Sapar Shachi Gaur Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna Prabhu Gopikana ki Jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Devi ki Jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Jai Samagata Gaur Bhaktivedānta ki Jai, Jai Shri Bhakti Sāraṅga Gosvāmī Mahārāja ki Jai, Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan. Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur Vrindai Tulsi Devai Kriya Keshava Krishna Bhakti Paradevi Satyavata Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sandhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat pranams, Niri Hari Prabhu, Bhavatarani Mataji, Champak Mataji, and Hari Krishna Prabhu, Ganga Mataji, Rohini Nandan Prabhu, Vidya Lala Siddhiri, Rupa Raghunath Prabhu, Indira Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, all devotees watching in the future, also Shachi Devi and Jayade Prabhu. Dandavat pranams, thank you so much for joining our reading today. Sorry, today I was falling asleep, like I'm really tired right now because I didn't sleep much last night, but anyhow, hopefully tomorrow I'll be more awake. But yeah, thank you so much for joining.